The thing that angered me the most, like I said, is NASCAR is handcuffing these teams by telling them what to do as far as what tires to run. Because you had Kyle Larson that's saying that he wants slicks. You got Christopher Bell that's saying, they were still probably 20 laps from being ready for slicks once the race was over. You've got other drivers saying, I want slicks. Other drivers saying, I want wets. You should just let them choose. And if Kyle Larson goes in there and busts his ass and wrecks, that's on Kyle Larson. It's not on NASCAR. Let them figure it out. If they want to run the wets, let them run the wets. If they want to run the dries, let them run the dries. The other thing that also infuriates me is telling them that they can't come down and put new tires on, new wet weather tires. If you want to pit and get new tires, why the fuck can't I pit new tires if I got a new set laying in there? If I fucking chunk those up later on and don't have any left, that's on me. That's part of the fucking strategy of racing, is when you put tires on and when you don't. So telling them when they can pit for tires and when they can't also infuriates me. Another thing that I don't like is that they let them refuel the car and adjust on the car under red flag because they're changing the tires. If your car's not set up to run wet weather tires, again, that's on you. If you stayed out before the red flag and didn't have any fuel in your car, like Tyler Reddick trying to
Michael McDowell.
And Michael McDowell.
I think Reddick was close, but I think he was going to be good. McDowell was the one that was going to be hurt by
but
it.
if you're gonna struggle to make it on fuel, if you're gonna have to save fuel or come down and pit and make a decision because you made a bold strategy call waiting on the rain, that's on you. You shouldn't be able to refuel your car and put everybody on the same page just because it started raining a little bit. I think that's dumb. I think the thing that makes rain racing and stuff in other series very, sought after and what is the best race. I mean, the only good racing in Formula One is when it rains. The only good racing. So when it rains in the IMSA, the racing's always better. So the thing that makes it better is the fact that, one, they don't have any grip, so it's easier to make mistakes and, people can race a little bit. But two, you've got 14, 15 different strategies. When do you pit? What do you pit for? Do I, try to run hard and burn these tires up? Do I run soft? That's what makes the racing good. So when NASCAR decides, hey, this is what you're doing, it takes it out of the team's hand and it makes the end of the race kind of phony to me. It's kind of gimmicky because, yeah, you're out there, you're running, but is it an actual competition? If you're telling these guys what they're going to do, if you're telling them you can't pit, if I'm Brad Keselowski and I want to pit from 26 and put fresh rain tires on and see if I can get a few spots, I should be able to. If I'm running fifth and I want to pit and put dries on it and fall back to the back and see if I can come back and pass these guys in 15 laps, I should be able to. And if it busts my ass, it busts my ass. But it's a competition. Let these guys compete. Let them make decisions. These guys get paid to make these decisions. If they make the wrong one, it's on them. But you have to let them, in my opinion. Another thing that infuriated about it.
Good Lord, have mercy. How many things are you angry about?
The fucking commentary booth was saying just the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Rick Allen at one point.
Is this a you can't do that?
I think Rick Allen wanted to leave. Like he
was sick.
This motherfucker's sitting there.
So
it's barely raining outside. It had no lightning in the area, and he's like, I don't know what NASCAR is going to have to make a decision here pretty soon. You got to start thinking about the safety of these fans because they're making them sit out here, and it's just not safe when the weather comes. Motherfucker. If I'm at New Hampshire and I want to sit in that fucking stand and a lightning strike hits right beside me, that's on fucking me. That's not on NASCAR.
Yeah, but it goes back to
I get
track.
that guy got killed, whatever.
At
Pocono. I get it. I understand.
Hey. You know who won that race? Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's the only time we'll do that.
He should have, blown a tire going into two and backed it on the fence.
You remember Furniture Row back in there back in the day?
Yeah. But anyway, it's not your job to tell NASCAR what they need to do, Rick Allen. And it's not your
You can't do that.
and it's not NASCAR's
18
job.
minutes in.
And it's not NASCAR's job to dictate whether or not they cancel a race because it might rain on some fans that decide to stay. NASCAR's job is to put the race on and make sure it's, a competitive show. If I'm sitting in the stands, that's on me. So that shit kind of pissed me off there. But other than that, I liked it.
Are you sure?
No, it sucked. Never do it again.
Now, I agree with most of everything you're saying. What I do disagree with you on is like letting the guys decide if they want to put wets or slicks on. The only reason why I say that is because New Hampshire does not have lights. If this is Richmond, where they have lights, Martinsville has lights, a track that has lights, I get it. I would understand it, your frustration more. But the fact is, NASCAR waited out this rain delay, which they normally don't do. We put the wet tires on, and they know darkness is 82 to go. A lot of shit can happen, and they're probably expecting some cautions to happen with this wet tire. Yeah,
easy for you to say.
Well, it's not. Nothing's easy for me to say. And so they were trying to protect the teams from themselves, I think, because they don't want Kyle Larson going out there on slicks and flying up through the field, but then getting halfway through there and spinning out. Then another restart. Oh, Kyle Larson got up there. He just spun out. Ross Chastain's going to try it now. And he goes spinning out. And we just have caution after caution after caution because these guys are trying to – they'll go faster, but they're probably going to bust their ass in the process. And you have more cautions and more cautions. Next thing you know, it's 30 to go, and it's too dark, and everybody's upset because we can't finish the race because it's too dark because everybody's busting their ass.
Does NASCAR dictate how loose you can run your race car?
Well, I'm talking about.
Let me ask you a question.
Rain.
Does NASCAR dictate how loose you can run your race car?
No.
So if I want to go in there with the loosest race car, what did we used to always say? Loose is fast, right? Jimmy Johnson would be fucking sideways coming off of Dover.
But you got to think this is unprecedented situation here. It's
Not
an
really.
Unprecedented situation.
Every other motorsport in
NASCAR,
in the world races on rain tires.
Yes.
And guess what? They figure it out. When it rains, they put the rain tires on. And when they think it's dry enough, they come down and pit for live pit stops and put slicks on.
Yeah, I understand that, but
that's what they do.
So now after this weekend, I want them to take the cuffs off. I agree. They should let these teams do what they want to do. However, I still think it's the first time we have ended a race on these wet weather tires on an oval. We started the Richmond race back in March on these wet weather tires. And it was really not. It was barely sprinkling, and the track dried up really, really quick.
Yeah.
That's not enough. That's not enough evidence to say, hey, we can end this New Hampshire race with these wet weather tires and let these motherfuckers do what the fuck they want to do. Especially with darkness coming in. There's a rainstorm coming as well. It started raining, I think, like 10 minutes after the race ended. So they got very lucky that they were able to get the whole race in. I think NASCAR, that was their end goal, and they said, hey, to protect ourselves, protect these teams, that way we can, and the fans, the way we can get the whole 301 laps in, let's tell these teams what to do. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand what they were trying to do, and it worked out because we even got more. We got overtime. We got 305 laps in. We were able to get all those laps in because I think NASCAR protected the teams from themselves instead of, and I know we still had a lot of cautions in that 82 laps. However, it wasn't every 5 laps because somebody was trying to put slicks on and trying to move up to the front. And I feel like that might have happened if NASCAR would have said, hey, y'all do y'all. If you want to put slicks on right now, go for it. But you're probably gonna bust your ass, and we're gonna be here till fucking nightfall, and we're not gonna be able to get this race in.
I understand that. I get NASCAR has to make sure that the race goes on, right? So I get it, and that's probably the least of my, the least headstrong I am of my points is that one. I do wish they would let them choose. I understand why they don't, but I do wish. But
going forward, I think they should.
But they have to let them change tires to new wets.
Yeah,
when they want to.
I agree with that.
And they have to be, and it should be live pit stops. Why the fuck is it not live pit stops?
It's just so new still. I don't want these team members to get hurt because somebody's sliding through the box.
All right, new rule: when you're running the rain weather tires, your team is not allowed to jump over the wall until your car is in your pit box.
That's fine. I'd be okay with that.
That's all you got to do.
But you got to think, though, somebody gets into their pit stall and they overshoot it and they just run in the back of somebody else's car.
Could that not happen in dry?
Yeah, but
Has it not happened in dry?
No, you rarely see it.
It happens all the time. People get
Run somebody in the back of somebody?
People get dumped into fucking pit boxes.
I'm not saying getting dumped. I'm saying run into the back of somebody.
Sure, that might not happen, but people do slide through their pits all the time.
I hope to God this never happens, but I'm still shocked what this hasn't happened in modern day, where some guy's trying to get their stall and they slide too far into their box, and the right rear tire changer's coming around the car as he's hitting the car, and he gets pinched.
Yeah, well, it's a dangerous.
I hope that never happens.
Yeah, I hope it does too. Never does too. But it's a dangerous sport. You can't litigate the danger out of it. So, I think it's a competition. You should let these guys compete. I think if you would ask any of the guys on pit road,
how about this?
They would rather be able to compete.
Okay, instead of doing that, you can have competitive pit stops, but the guys don't leave their stall as soon as they're done. You have the fastest pit stop.
No.
The guy in 25th place goes to the front.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. I think it's
you can't do that.
Or when it's raining, pit road speeds 15 mile an hour.
Fair, it wasn't raining.
When the road is wet, when you're racing on rain tires,
the pit road
speeds.
That's fair. There's ways to get around that. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So instead of but of course, then you would have to set that rule prior, so they would be able to set their lights.
Yeah.
To that, but whatever they have to do, I think they need to have competitive pit stops. I don't think any racing series, national racing series, I don't like the fact that they don't have competitive pit stops in the fucking late model cars tour. If you're pitting, it should be a fucking who can do it the fastest should matter. But I digress on that. All in all,
it kind of takes away the field goal in football.
It's part of the competition. If you're going to pit for tires,
it's not worth the most, but it's worth something.
Who changes your tires should matter. That's the reason why, Richard Petty and, the Allisons and all those guys that were winning a lot of races back in the day were winning so many races because the Wood brothers are the guys that perfected the pit stop. They're the ones that made it a priority. They figured it out, and now everybody does it, right? But if Joe Gibbs has the best pit crews, which they do,
I don't know.
All in all, Brad Keselowski's got a really good pit crew.
Chase,
you shouldn't handcuff him because you're scared. Yeah. Is all I'm saying. But all in all, I think the rain tires are a good thing. I think that they are not used to their full potential, but I understand this is a new thing, and they're going to have to figure it out. But I think that NASCAR is just too cautious with this, and I think that they need to let these teams compete.